on Wednesdays, we bring you issues on sanitation and environment, and also things around us. You hope you know, and things that at least is going to get us to be in a better shape, and that has to do with sanitation. We would want to move straight into that. There is an issue at Kpone, that is Kpone Dumpsite, not the landfill site, because that one has been re-engineered. That's the engineering site, but this is the dump site, and the residents and business owners around that dump site are asking that the government should decommission that dump site immediately because it is full. I happened to go to the place and I found this report. Let's bring you that report after. You definitely speak to the authorities that be on this issue. The Kpone dump site becomes visible as soon as one approaches the Kpone junction along the Tama-Aflao highway. For years, heaps of refuse have piled up at the site, creating a looming environmental threat. Residents fear the mounds of waste could eventually collapse, similar to the garbage landslide recorded in Uganda in 2024, which claimed 21 lives. The situation has been further compounded by the establishment of numerous factories and businesses around the perimeter of the dump site. As commercial activity expands, the available land space for refuse disposal continues to shrink, forcing waste to be stacked higher and higher. Some business owners say the continuous burning of waste at the site poses a major health hazard. Thick smoke and toxic fumes, they claim, have become a daily occurrence, affecting productivity and exposing workers and residents to respiratory challenges.
It's been a problem since we have been here. We started operations about 4 years ago now, and ever since, any person that comes here always points it out that this is our place, this is our environment, it's not good for business. They express concerns about the health of the people that work here, and so it's been a real hindrance to our business and the operations here, and particularly to our health as well, because we always have to wear nose masks, and these nose masks are not completely protective, so it's a health hazard, a definite health hazard. We have complained, but we keep getting promises that they would relocate soon, but it's been ongoing for 4 years now and there's been no development. I suppose so. It's valid because, as you can see, there's no, so I'm not sure how far back it reaches because I only have this view, but I suppose there's a real threat of a landslide as well, and I also spoke about the fires. It can spread and reach anywhere and have consequences that they may not have even planned for. The last time there was a huge incident, but I think it was under control, but they had to burn the place, and we had fire service teams coming to quench off the fire. You would think something major was happening, but it was just because they were burning this dump site over here. So the whole thing is a real threat.
Residents in the area corroborated the urgent need for the Kpone dump site to be decommissioned. They note that the stench, smoke, and health risk have made life unbearable, and they fear a disaster may be imminent if nothing is done.
Remember 2016, 17, and I ball and no hanum. Nobody am able to see hanum. The ball and no hanum. I show hanum. I am a bomb for crying allegation. Why demonstration? So we put soon here. You come, ball and soon you come. Ball and they disturb well, I show Tona say a yellow ball and soon and we had them. Toilet be a gata say one year in and baby at one soon you did your hand at that. I wish you were her in ye, just Sabans on your Moana Balano, on Catastrophe, now how soon as you make a crack, and Saquayano, workers be brave, will be 5 plenty. Now, the paper brave mount, your best Sabans on my amour. Sabet you for money measure the cost running a more jedi. Just rub man or some one or Mukatabal and so my. Now your brother Eliamuapa. A broso cry. I am my broso. A broso cry. Beg a crack B5 for a bebunu. A bebu B5 for no. Machine piano, gusu piano, piano. She said, bet me, come to money by share, I'm both at your brepa.
They are therefore appealing to the government, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the various assemblies to speed up efforts toward the closure of the dump site and provide sustainable, environmentally safe waste management system for the community.
And let's hear from you if you reside in that enclave. That is businesses within that area and also residents within that area. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204447033, and we will read the messages loud and clear. We understand that this call has been made several times, but as to whether there is going to be an action taken about it immediately, we are yet to find out, because when you go to that area, you would find a number of factories or a number of companies. Gapoa terminal is there. We have the Polytank, I think one of the warehouses or the factories there. We also have Gasem, I think, in that area, among other companies that are within the enclave. But let's understand the issue better. The managers of the place, that is Waste Landfills Company Limited, under the Jospon Group of Companies. Dr. Peter Kwesi Dagadu is the managing director for Waste Landfills Company Limited, and he is joining us for us to understand what really the issue is. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Philip. And good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us. First of all, I want to find out from you if you can help us understand the backstory to this particular dump site and how did we get here.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again. In 2019, when there was the outbreak of the fire at the major engineering landfill site at Kpone, the site had to be immediately closed, and the only alternative available, according to the city authorities, was the dump site, which was closed in 2013. That is where we are currently receiving waste. So waste was diverted to that site, and as a temporary measure, but that site has continued to exist till date. So it has been active since 2019, August 2019 to date. It was initially shut down in 2012 to make way for the usage of the sanitary landfill that was constructed by the World Bank. So that is basically the background of how this whole dump site came into place. Thank you.
And as of the time you moved back to the place in 2019, this particular dump site was already there, and you moved back to it after the fire gutted the engineered one. Did we have a number of companies around the dump site as of that time?
In fact, the whole enclave was zoned as a waste management zone, including the decommissioned landfill site. It was more than 13.5 hectares that was earmarked for the sanitary landfill project. But with time, it was rezoned for industrial purposes. So the footprint of the planned area has kept on shrinking. As a matter of fact, when this dump site started, most of the land use activities there were not present. But over the years, within the past decade, we have seen significant encroachment as well as changing patterns in terms of the land use activities in that area. It is becoming more industrialized. And the free zones enclave is just a few meters away from this particular address.
Right, but is it safe for the dump field to be there and also the area becoming industrialized? Is it safe?
Well, it is not. As a matter of fact, according to the landfill guidelines, we do not have to have a waste disposal facility less than 200 meters away from either residential or industrial activities. But this is a case where the dump site was there before these land use activities became activated. So the argument changes, and it depends on where you stand. This site is a very critical and sensitive location that services about the whole eastern enclave of the Greater Accra metropolitan area. So it's a very critical site for waste management within the city. So it depends on where you stand. But the fact of the matter that we need to interrogate is that the height of the waste mass is currently beyond 30 meters, and that raises a lot of concern for us as managers.
Maybe you would want to give us details of this. You said the eastern part of the Greater Accra region. Maybe you would want to give us the various assemblies or the municipalities that get their waste dumped at this dump site. You can help us understand it better.
Well, the TMA, the Kpone Katamanso Metropolitan Assembly, and in Pram, Tema West, Ashaiman, parts of Ladekotopong, and then a few other areas, adjoining areas. But the interesting thing is that the interesting trend is that because of the construction works on the Ofanko and Sawam axis, there seems to be an apparent increase in the usage of the site because of the bad nature of the roads towards other landfill, other waste treatment and disposal facilities. We have seen numbers, the traffic to this site increasing, and that has added to the challenges that the site currently faces as we speak now.
So Doc, unfortunately, we are trying to get to the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, but we are not able to get them. So you would want to stay with us for quite some time, maybe for the next 20 or 30 minutes. Chris, you have a question you want to ask?
Yes, I have a question. Earlier, you talk about the height of the dump site, or say the trash that we can see on the screens. What is supposed to be the appropriate height? And with this height that you're talking about now, which is not appropriate, what could actually happen?
Well, there are a lot of risk issues here. One of the critical issues that we are worried about is the possibility of a waste slide. Because the waste is not stable, and we keep on piling and stacking waste on it. There's a possibility when there's a heavy rainfall event, the waste could actually slide, just like we have landslides, and then create problems for lives and properties nearby. There have been instances of such incidents across Africa. Just last August in Kampala, there was an incident where 38 people could not be accounted for. Something similar happened in Ethiopia not too long ago, and a few other places around the world. So we are quite worried about. And also in 2019, there's a chance of the reoccurrence of the landfill fire that culminated in the closure of the main sanitary landfill, which created fear and panic for residents within that enclave. So that is the danger that could occur, and we wish we could start talking about relocation and finding alternatives to this particular situation.
What is the volume of waste that this dump site receives in a day?
Depending on the season, and currently we are maxing around 1,000 to 1,200 tons of waste per day.
Wow.
Which is around about, it's about 200 and between 250 and 300 trucks coming in a day.
But one also asks that why has the place that is a dump site been left for individuals or for factories to be around, though you mentioned that it was purposely for a dumping area and eventually we have factories around that. What has been the engagement like to maybe put that thing on hold and ensure that people do not encroach the dump site?
This is purely a planning and enforcement matter. And I think the authorities that host the facility would be in a better position to provide correct answers to this. But you know, Ghana, you know the issues that we are raging with pertaining to encroachment and lack of enforcement. And that has been the case. In fact, the area was zoned for waste management and is now serving other land use purposes. So that alone should tell you the story. But the authorities should be able to speak better to it, the TDC or the TMA or KKMA.
But has there been any engagement to ensure that we find a lasting solution to this problem as we watch on to this looming disaster?
Can I hear you? Can you repeat the question again?
So I'm asking if there has been any engagement with the Metropolitan Assembly or the Kpone Municipal Assembly or whichever assembly is in charge, or the authorities, i.e. the local government ministry or the government in general, to find a lasting solution to this problem as we watch on to this looming disaster?
Well, we have engaged the TMA on this issue, and we suggest that there should be a roadmap on how to exit the site, close and decommission the site, and look for other alternatives. We've indicated that we are on standby and we are prepared to provide our professional services to assist the assembly to look for other sites for waste treatment and disposal. So we have made that call, and I'm sure within the days or weeks we would hear from the assemblies with regards to this particular matter.
But when it comes to the issue with management of the place, how easy or difficult is it now?
Well, because the footprint has shrunk and there has been an increase in the traffic to the sites, managing maneuverability and an operation of the site has become very, very challenging because you have a very small active phase to work within. So the safety of workers and users of the facility is even something that is of concern to us. Access to the facility is no longer direct. You have to go by a filling station, and that even raises more concerns because the site itself generates a lot of methane gas, which is very, very reactive. So these are all concerns, and the general safety of users of the site, workers, as well as people living nearby, we can say it's under threat.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So you said it's under threat, and we can clearly agree with you, especially with what we're seeing and hearing. But now, what do you think is the best way to manage this dump site? If you were given the opportunity to manage this place, what would you say is the right way to go about managing it so we wouldn't see issues like, the dump site becoming a mountain, like what we are seeing? It's already becoming a mountain, and also, it's being assessed or used the right way?
Well, when you say giving the opportunity, we are actually managers, we assist in managing the site, but as I indicated, because of the decreasing footprint of the site or the active phase, it's very, very challenging to manage it in a way it's very difficult to manage. As a matter of fact, at this current state, the site should be closed, but because it is a critical and sensitive, it's a very critical facility that services a major part of the city of Accra, that makes it very challenging to close it down. But ideally, the site is fully exhausted and we must start looking at installation of closer facilities and closing it down.
But I'm sure that you made mention of the fact that it's difficult to manage. There should be some financial component in there. How are you managing that too?
Well, the site was handed over to us in 2019 by TNA, so there's an agreement with TNA for management. But there has been challenges with receivables from TNA since so we've not been paid for a long time. So that is also impacting on management of the site as well. But we are continuing to talk with the local government ministry and the relevant stakeholders to resolve this as well.
Doc, how soon should the decommissioning be done, and how soon should the government hit to your cause? Now you'd have to make it just plain to them.
Well, as I indicated, we are hoping to start talking to find alternative sites to make available any resources required professionally to tackle the issue. But the main issue is that we need to have an alternative. If we do not have alternative, there are two things. We must redirect traffic to the other treatment and disposal facilities which are on the northwestern side of Accra. You have to cross the whole of Accra. So imagine moving your waste from Kpone or Ningo Pram all the way to Nsawam or to Ajin Kotuko, which will take you about a day when you consider the traffic, and that will result in spillovers at all our container sites, as well as refuse not being picked up regularly at our doorsteps. So these are some of the challenges that may occur immediately this site is shut down and there's no alternative. So there should be a way to go about it in a way that we do not disrupt waste services to avoid or forestall any public or environmental health crisis.
But Doctor, I suggest we put timelines to this, because if there should be, so to speak, the waste landslide and people are not able to get their waste moved from their homes to the final disposal site, which is the Kpone dump site, that means these waste will be in their homes, and that can result in health challenges and all that. So the question again, what should be the timelines we should work with to, one, decommission this dump site, and two, get a new one immediately?
Well, you see, the Local Government Act is very clear on who is supposed to manage waste within any assembly. The back stops at the assembly. So the assembly has to make that call. In fact, the site belongs to the TMA. They have to make that call. We are a major stakeholder, and we are prepared to work along with the assembly in whatever decisions are taken. But from a professional view standpoint, the site has to be closed down within the shortest possible time. And whilst we do that, there should be an alternative so traffic can be diverted there, so do we not disrupt the system.
Okay. So before you take leave of us, maybe final words from you. I'm sure that the various authorities are watching, and you being the managers of that dump site, what you would want to tell the authorities as well.
Well, for us, we are prepared to assist with the location of relocation of the site. We are prepared to work with assembly officials, the waste management department, and other stakeholders within the space to find alternatives. That should be done within the shortest possible time. There should be a roadmap in the next. There should be a roadmap now on how we are exiting the site. There should be funding available to close the site and decommission the site too, so it does not pose a threat once we even move from there. If you've been to the nearby decommission site, you see how it has been closed nicely, and it is a recreational space that is beneficial to the surrounding community. So same can be done for this particular site as well. It can be closed down nicely, and then it can be transformed into something that would bring a lot of benefit to the people who have suffered from having the facility located close to them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Kwe Dagadu is the Managing Director for Waste Landfills Company Limited, and you are the managers of the Kpone Dumpsite, which residents and business owners within that enclave are asking that it should be decommissioned immediately because of the health risks it poses and other challenges they are facing. Fortunately for us, we have the head of waste management at Tema Metropolitan Assembly, Engineer Bertha Issel, who is joining us live for us to have conversation on the issue. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
I trust you're doing well.
Philip and your team, and then to all your listeners.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us. First of all, what is your take on the dam site that is full to capacity?
Thank you very much, Philip. Indeed, CNA as an institution, we all acknowledge the fact that the landfill has reached its maximum capacity, and there is a need to, of course, take an action. But nevertheless, just to let you know the background, this site was acquired in 1996, and then was run for about 3 years to 2012 when we moved to the engineered landfill site, which was had some challenges with fire, and out of emergency we had to come back to this particular place. So just to let you know of the outcry that we existed before most of these infrastructure or factories or companies got close to us, so that you have that background. Also the fact that a final disposal site is very important for a city like Greater Accra, and in particular the Tema Enclave. And when we look at the Tema Enclave, we are talking about from Ladma to Lekma to TMA to Kpone and then to Ningo. And all these with this enclave do not have a final disposal site. And this landfill site, TMA landfill site, which is at Kpone, is the final disposal site for these municipalities. And so then we should know that if we need to take an action, it needs thorough thinking and steps to ensure that we do not, find ourselves in a crisis. And so for now, for TMB, a lot of options are on our table that we are discussing. Our private operators, which is Waste Landfills or Zoom Lion, we have also engaged them. And of course, one particular thing is finding a new location for the other options. The idea is not also again to do landfill. Landfilling is actually the end of the treatment chain. And actually, when you look at elsewhere it exists and works well, there is a chain of separation, recycling, and transfer stations that reduce the volumes to ensure that the landfills last long. But in our case, it hasn't been like that. Everything, in any way, every solid waste is packed and sent to the landfill. And so this landfill has experienced a lot of pressure. And the pressure transferred into management issues such as compaction problems, inadequate compaction, and then also breakdown of equipment have led to where we are now. And so I'll say we acknowledge the challenge, and we are working at it to ensure that we find a solution.
All right. I just want to ask, as the area was becoming more and more populated by means of people building their factories, their filling stations, even houses, what was done about that? Was there any warning to these people, like you don't need to build around here, there's a dump site here, this dump site, what was done about it?
The unfortunate thing for TMA is the land acquisition, and it's not done by TMA, and it's done by TDC, Tema Development Corporation, and sometimes that oversight and the gap of collaboration leads to these, encroachments. In fact, I was in one discussion on we had actually land for expansion of the landfill, which was rezoned, And of course, we had a meeting on this, and you know, it was like the responsibility is with them, and so it becomes a challenge when we, as an institution, a government institution, have not fully acquired. But we know that if it's zoned for sanitary facility, then it should remain as such. So that has been the discussion between TMA and TDC for some time now, and of course that affects our sanitary sites, and of course we have progressed with the discussion. They've asked that we write to inform them of all sanitary sites such that they are protected.
Wow.
So it emanated from that, actually.
I like the fact that there are talks ongoing, but you know, we may not have enough time on our hands now that we are seeing that the issue is becoming bigger and bigger. What is the timeline to have a conversation on this? And one, find a different location where wish to be taken to, as we protect maybe factories that have been set up around this dump site.
Yes, Philip. You know, different location means has a funding implication, and you know we are a government institution that you know work in the long term, and so the process has started, and so it will be difficult to give specific timeline as to when it will be totally, you know, closed or relocated. But what I can say is on the table right now, the low-hanging fruit is that to reduce the number of municipalities that are coming to dump, because the volume is huge. There are 7 municipalities now. We want to reduce it to 3. And that discussion is on the table right now. And I'll say it's a low-hanging fruit for now. Any other options, such as getting a new location, has funding implications. And so we are doing the analysis and the options to see which one is more favorable.
But are we treating this as an emergency, though?
Of course, yes. Yes.
Okay, so if we are treating it as an emergency, I know TMA is also having its own issues, and like you said, TDC is the one that is acquiring the land or giving the land out or whatever it is. But the managers of the dump sites are also complaining of some financial problems or challenges. Has that one also reached your table?
Yes, please. And then and so I would like to say that we thank them for their good work. They have worked with us for quite a long time, and so far it hasn't been bad. But what we would like to say is that we are going through a process. I mean, as they know, and of course there's a need to look at all the documents that pertain to the work being done on the ground, and you know, meet and discuss. We've had preliminary meetings, but then we are yet to have the final meeting, which they are away. And I know that at that meeting, most of these issues will be discussed and we come to a fair conclusion.
From where you sit as a waste manager at TMA, what are some of the implications that would arise as a result of the dump site that has gone beyond the height limit, and also when it comes to land space, we don't have enough land space and all that? What do you think that will be the challenge? What are we looking at in the near future if nothing is done about this?
Of course, we're looking at backlog in the communities, because the transport system collects from the communities, and you know we don't have the intermediary separation. Then it goes to the landfill, and so that backlog is what we will experience if we don't take that action. But then I also say that of course when the waste is in the houses or in the communities and you don't pick, of course it also be a nuisance and also have health implications. And this is what we have perceived and we are looking at resolving.
There are also issues of waste landslide. Has that one to come to your attention?
Yes, we have discussed with the managers and on the shaping. You know, it comes out of the process of bumping and compaction. It's called the trapezium shape is not maintained. You know, landfill has that shape that keeps it stable. And in one or two of our meetings, they assured us that they are trying, but we need to take action immediately. So we are aware of that as well. and we are working with them on that.
Okay, Engineer Betha Isel, before you take leave of us, any final words you'd want to leave us with?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to ChannelOne, and thank you to everyone who has been supporting us, TMA, in managing waste, all our private operators and the landfill managers as well. And we are hoping and trusting that our plans to get a final disposal site happen so that we all relieve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Betha Esau, who is the head of waste management at the Tema Metropolitan Assembly. And this is a very important discussion to be had. Reason is, God forbid, touch wood, should there be a waste landslide right now, the authorities will drive their V8 to that place.
Right.
Chris, like the video I saw in Uganda.
I mean, like, I think the producers had it on the screen for people who didn't understand.
Yeah, that's it. So it was part of the story I did.
So this was in Uganda.
It was in Uganda. And the authorities went there and they had to get the issue resolved. But I'm sure that when it was piling up, we were all seeing it.
Yeah. They didn't have to,
yes, we were doing lip service.
So we can all avoid the whole landslide thing and people dying before we become active. I think you're right. We need to be proactive.
We can avoid it. See, when you get close to the dump sites, which I went, it's very close to a fuel station. Like Dr.
Very, very worrying. Yeah, because it actually emits some gases. And so imagine that gas.
And should there be a spark? We are here talking about it because we know what we have seen and we know what the issues are. It may not be the fault of TMA, TDC, the managers of the dump site or all that. It's just that the factories have now eaten into the land space of the dump site. Immediately, there should be a decision to move from that place to another place before we see a bigger problem. That would take a lot more money for it to be dealt with. Because if you are decommissioning this dump site, it may be expensive, but addressing a disaster or a calamity may be more expensive than resolving the issue now.
So being proactive is
better. That's why they say a stitch in time saves nine. Yeah. So if you are not stitching it now and you are waiting, oh, we are talking about it, oh, there are plans on the table, oh, we have to do this, oh, we have to do that, and look at the height. Because when they said Kpone Dumpsite and the issues were kind of like, but that should be the engineering site that has been decommissioned. Just to get there, and upon getting to the Kpone barrier, oh, it's there. Very huge.
Like a mountain.
Like a mountain. Very huge. And we shouldn't say that we are working around it with their plans in the pipeline. We will resolve it today. We have to resolve it tomorrow. Engineer Betta says something which I really like. This was there in 1996. So
we've been watching it.
Yeah, we've been watching it like TV. So in 1996, there should have been a plan for it that in the year 2026 or 2025, we should have another dump site that is going to be worked on.
Yes, yes. Because at this point, I'm thinking, in as much as they're calling for the closure of this dump site, what's going to happen? How are they going to, move to another place? And how are they also going to manage this other place not to get to this situation that this?
So you get to a new place, and you should ensure that factories aren't going to eat into the land space, or residential areas are not going to eat into the dump space.
And
but we leave it at that.
I think it's very worrying in the sense that even the people that built around there, I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they had the land before the dump site was, in existence, but it is very health problem. Like it's going to trouble your health.
And even when you get to the area, when you get to the area,
you're waking up with the same smell. You're working in that area with the same smell.
The whole environment is
that's why the guy was wearing a mask.
I'll not say smoky, it's foggy.
Oh,
so
Lord.
you can't even see anything. So imagine you are working at a place like Gapoha, which is very close to it, Gapoha Terminal, and you are supposed to go to work every now and then. You're supposed to be in nose masks, and you go to the hospital and they tell you that you have some respiratory disease
problems.
and you do not know where you got it from. You got it from that area, because Dumpsite, we are not supposed to be having a Dumpsite within a residential area or within an industrial area,
because people work in that
so
area.
if you are getting a new Dumpsite, we should ensure that all the measures are put in place. We do not get factories around them. We do not get residential areas, people building their abode around them, and we protect it, because as the population increases, we are still going to generate waste. Not long ago, we were 18 million in this country. Today, we are over 30 million in this country, and Accra alone takes a chunk of it. So, if
well, over 30 million and more are still going to add up.
So
because we've opened our borders to everybody, and we are saying, oh, come into the country, come and invest in the country, come and live in the country. You are all Africans. You are all.
So by 2030, if we are seeing 1,200 tons of waste at the Kpone Dumpsite, we are going to see about 2,000 tons of waste at a particular Dumpsite that maybe will be the new one or something. So there should be a plan for the future. We shouldn't just be thinking about the fact that we have it today
and we have to move to another side.
There should be a plan for the future. So if the government has to work, I'm on the side of the managers, because they have really done well, because to manage such a site in a very long time, and maybe you are not having the needed funds, but you are still trying to put
hold on
things
to
in
it,
place, and all. They have the compactors, they also have the other machines, equipment when you get to the dump site and all that, trying to put things in place. If not for them, there should have been a disaster by now in the area. But I think that the bigger problem is, or the bigger solution to the entire problem, like Engineer Betha has indicated, there should be a plan. They should sit down. They should have a conversation about it. There should be a new site for the refuse immediately.
Yeah, so that's
it shouldn't be something we should be thinking about in the future.
That's also why I asked earlier, to the first to the first guest that we spoke to, that what will be the best way to manage it. So basically, we should be thinking about the future, and the best way to manage it, like you said, is decide that if we're going to have this other new place, we do not want houses or any factories around it, because I think that also poses a problem to what we are seeing now.
Yes. So, Engineer Betha Eso, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that TMA would lead the talk so that something can be done about it immediately, and also the managers of the Waste Landfills Company Limited, that is the managing director, that is Dr. Dagadu. Thank you so much for joining us. But we'll be following up on this story keenly to see what the outcome will be, and also for us to protect ourselves from any future disaster. Very important.
Anyway, as you're watching, we still